Good morning, everybody, and welcome again to Industries Live. For those of you who are just joining in for the second half of our show, very excited for you to join us this morning for another second half of our show. We're going to have a really interesting conversation with Janel from LiveU. We're going to be talking about a number of different interesting industry problems that LiveU have addressed and are solving for our customers. For those of you who are joining for the first time, Industries Live is our every other Tuesday show where we talk about our industry customers and partners and the interesting industry problems that we're solving that are highly specialized in helping ultimately accelerate our customers' journey using the cloud. And, you know, what I love about it is we really get down into the nitty-gritty of some of the great customer stories and understanding how we've really solved interesting problems with the cloud and with our key partners. And today we're talking media entertainment. We're going to be talking live events, which I'm very passionate about and very much enjoy talking about. I'm Michael Schmidt. I look after the Industry and Partner Solutions Center of Excellence here in Seattle, Washington. As I mentioned on the earlier broadcast, the sun is still out in Seattle, Washington, as it was half an hour ago. Spring has sprung here, so everybody's smiling. My team look after really focus on helping partners be successful on the platform with their industry-specific solutions and helping bring them to market, whether it be media entertainment, healthcare and life sciences, financial services, or even emerging industries like mining or perhaps even semiconductors or aerospace. I love my job. I'm very lucky to be able to talk about interesting customer and partner stories and how they're using the cloud to really disrupt an industry and change the future. And today is a great example of that. So I'm joined by my fabulous co-host, Gregoire. Gregoire, why don't you introduce yourself?
Thank you, Michael. I'm joining from LA. I'm Gregoire Rouyer. I am in charge of partner strategy for broadcast and sports at AWS. So supporting startups and companies who've been in the business for a longer time to build amazing solutions for the media industry, in particular for broadcasters and for sports leagues and federations. And today, we're very excited about hosting Janel from LiveU. LiveU is one of these partners that really is everywhere in our industry, and you don't see them directly, you don't notice them on TV. But without LiveU, we would not be able to get the signal from the cameras to the production centers, and very often we will not be able to cut the show and make it an amazing broadcast. So super excited to hear more about how they're doing this, what's behind the scene, what's the magic, and how they're using AWS to do that.
Awesome. Well, let's bring on Janel. While we bring Janel on, please engage with us in the chat. Let us know where you are, where you're connecting in from, and any thoughts and what the weather's like where you are. Janel, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm good. The weather here, I'm in Florida, so it's hot and sunny, but I'm glad to be joining you guys. Thanks for having me.
I was going to say, you two are both in sunny places, and as somebody once said to me, you don't even talk about the weather because it's always good. People in Seattle talk about the weather way too much because it's not always good. So there you go. Janel, why don't you tell us a little bit about LiveU and tell us perhaps firstly about yourself, a little bit about yourself, and then tell us a little bit about LiveU.
Yeah. So I've been with LiveU for nearly 8 years now, but my background is in video transmission. I joined to help sort of shift LiveU's market from sort of what we've always done, which is supporting news and ENG-like applications, to sports. So for those of you who are not familiar with LiveU, we're about 18 years old, global company. We really started as a technology replacement for how news acquisition was done, which was, if you've ever watched a movie and you've seen a reporter on scene, there's always a van with a big microwave satellite dish at the top of it. And that's how they, used to acquire content in the field. LiveU invented and is the patent holder of a technology called bonded cellular, which is really quite simply, I'm going to dumb it down, but aggregating LTE and at the time 3G, but now 5G networks, all the various carriers, bonding them together and moving video with that first mile being cellular, but over the public internet reliably and high quality. So now, if you see news reporters in the field, you often see a camera operator with a backpack, which is basically like a satellite in a truck. And that's really what we started with, is really news acquisition. And then in sports, we've really, because connectivity has become more reliable, because internet and available bandwidth has become more readily available, we are shifting our sort of contribution towards sports, and we have been for a while very successfully. And from there, we've spun off a few other products that we found were really the pain points in the landscape of live sports and just live capture in general. So we've leaned heavily on cloud infrastructure to support what we're calling and we're promoting is cloud production, and our version of it, which is really lightweight cloud production. And it's been successful. It's exciting because this is an industry of broadcasters who are very traditional in mindset. So shifting and looking at a cloud versus a hardware infrastructure is a really big mind shift. And the technology really needs to support what many engineers, they're wearing belts and suspenders to keep their pants up. So this is how do I have that same, confidence in a cloud platform versus a physical one? That's always the shift of mindset that we're trying to do.
Nice. I love that. AWS prides itself on being the platform for disruption. So whether it be, Airbnb, Netflix, or Lyft, or whatever it is, I love that story. Gregoire, did you want to throw the next question to Janel?
Sure. So, you're mentioning that it's really hard to move our industry. Some of our customers who are used to producing news or sports in a certain way, I've been doing it for 30 years. It's really tough to disrupt this. So, but that also means that we have to identify pain points, and we have to bring solutions to these customers. So what solutions are you bringing to our customers, to broadcasters' pain point? What are the angles that you found to drive adoption for this new way of transmitting media, and to drive adoption of lightweight production?
Yeah, I think our solutions naturally fit into the migration of everybody's looking for efficient workflows to shorten workflows and provide cost reduction without reducing the amount of content that they need to produce to meet the next stage customer demand. So a lot of the conversations I have is, okay, I've used this traditional technology to support, let's say, a primary production of a tier 1 sport, but really I just acquired rights to this tier 2 sport. I want to throw in this pre-game show or post-game show, and can I reuse my resources and people, or is there something I can spin up that helps produce that same content at that same quality level customers want, but is really geared and sort of right-sizing the production tools for the content they have to create? And that's really, I think, where we've been able to, move the adoption faster, is we're aiming at replacing most of the primary productions that people are doing. We're aiming at saying, listen, you have to do a lot more. You may have to do a secondary or a hybrid production of a live event. And this is a tool really built for that demand. And it doesn't require a ton of infrastructure. It doesn't require a huge capital investment. So it allows you to have some freedom and creativity on what you want to try and what works and what doesn't work. So, to answer your question, it's really looking at it as a enablement tool for most of the new stuff that they're trying to push out there. So I'll give you some examples. When I started 7.5 years ago, LiveU was a news product, and sports would sometimes be like, no thanks. It's for news, not for me, right? So how did I get them to shift their mind to say, no, there's a tool in your toolbox that's sort of complementary to what you've probably always done? And a lot of that was looking at us, okay, just use us as a backup, right? Just look at us as, here, try this encoder, back up your fiber path or back up your satellite path, and start to gain the confidence of the technology and the solution. And slowly that was a fastest way to adopt and start using our stuff for more primary stuff and more ancillary stuff. Of course, the pandemic helped. I think someone on the previous panel even said, it shifted adoption by 5 years, right? And that's the same for our stuff, right? You were kind of forced and we couldn't kind of slow roll new stuff to you. You were sort of like, you have to do it now this way, which is great because then people gain the confidence in the solution faster. So with LiveU, we have an ecosystem of products now. So not just contribution, but production and distribution, and all of it is IP centric. And this is a broadcasting industry is, traditionally very hardware focused, SDI, physical infrastructure first. So, introducing IP and cloud, these are all evolutions we've had over the last few years that customers have really not only embraced, but have pushed the boundaries of what they can do over it. So we're seeing, especially in the sports landscape, because of course we love our stick and ball sports, right? Our tier 1 NBA and NHL and NFL, but we're seeing a huge fan focus on the tier 2 and tier 3 sports, which again, our products are sort of perfectly aligned for. So we coined the term lightweight sports production because we're sort of lightweight but heavy hitting. And the idea is that you can deploy our field encoders, use our cloud production and our distribution solutions, all three sort of pillars of our product infrastructure, to pull off a live production. And we focus on minimal operators, minimal cost, and high efficiency. So that sort of mentality is thinking, okay, we understand this is not tier 1 product, but we want it to look as good as possible and be as cost efficient as possible. So this sort of mindset, I think, is what's helped customers see that we're seeing the trends and we're just kind of aligning with it and creating products that helps meet the demand that, again, I think it will continue to grow, if that answers your question.
I love 2 things that you said there, which I really want to double click on. I love what you said about, sometimes things happen that we don't expect to change our business. And COVID was definitely one we talked about on the previous call, and you mentioned it again, that obviously had a dramatic impact on your business and what you were seeing in terms of demand from your customers, which is really fascinating. And again, one we talk about a lot. The second thing you talked about there, which I just wanted you to just double click on one more time,
Sure.
is industry adjacencies. So you thought your solution is, you think your solution is in its sweet spot in an industry, but then you've got adjacent industries that say, okay, well, we thought our product was for news, but we see opportunities in sports that have the same foundational needs. What else have you seen in terms of demand from other adjacent industries that you see has been an opportunity for your business? And again, what advice would you give to other partners who are looking at how to transition into other industry adjacencies that have a similar foundational set of technical requirements?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So we're, in sports, it was a tweak of a product here, add this feature, add this and that, and really step up support, resiliency, different things. And it wasn't as big a lift as we thought it might be to get our product to meet the demand of this sports market. And now we're seeing, okay, the public sector is actually a very large market that would benefit highly from our technology. That's not necessarily broadcasting and live and commercialized, right? This is really public safety first, and first responders, things where maybe sending out video drones to capture things that are happening for safety of, the public, the officers and whatnot. So we're seeing now, okay, here's an opportunity to kind of use our technology that helps a different industry. And we expand that, every other year as we see, okay, actually this could work for potentially a house of worship, right? If you're trying to get more of your congregation involved in the church and you want to do live streaming and things like that. So a lot of people are on their devices. So really the sky's the limit. I think we're in the best industry because we get to bring content to people in any kind of way, in any format that they like to consume it. So in LiveU's world, it's a lot about live or as live, right? Capture it in the moment, bring it to you in the moment or in real time. So for us, it's really just focusing on what's next, what's coming, and what's missing. And our, at least for LiveU, we have a fantastic R&D team that moves very quickly to adapt to whatever our customers are looking for and the trends. So I think for other partners and people who are looking at it, always explore other options, because even as we level up our product in sports, it complements our news customer base as well, because they also do a lot of sports and they also do a lot of things that are media and entertainment. So music, concerts, other things that our technology now can support. And obviously with the help of AWS being so reliable and resilient, the reputation alone, knowing that we use your services as part of our package helps, bring customers to that level of confidence that, oftentimes all of us have a trouble getting there, especially when it comes to cloud.
And I think we have a demo. So, I mean, you're talking about all these features,
That's
everything that this product enables people to do. So why don't we cue the demo?
Yeah, let me.
We're diving into.
Sorry, let me do a quick little preface. So LiveU Studio is our native cloud production solution, which I say native cloud because it's very much in the LiveU ecosystem. You can spin it up and spin it down. There's no infrastructure in a VPC that you have to maintain, right? It's a true native cloud. It's not sort of software implemented in a cloud, right? And that really makes it unique because any LiveU customer, anyone who's not a LiveU customer can spin this up. And when I say cloud production, it's a true virtualized mixer. You're bringing in live sources, you're cutting between these live sources, you're adding graphic elements, you're publishing on social media, all of these elements that a true production switcher would typically do. So I do want to cue this up because these are sort of some features that you may not know is really out there in a native cloud production platform, all supported in AWS. And so sort of we wanted to highlight sort of high level some features that I think people would be very excited to see available on their browser and not necessarily have to have a hardware server installed or buy hardware to actually use. So I'll cue it up.
We're diving into 7 top features that make LiveU Studio a game changer for cloud-based live production. If you're used to expensive hardware and complex setups, now it's all in the cloud. So let's jump in. First up is layer organization. If your production looks a little chaotic with all your sources on one layer, no worries. With one click, you can group your sources by type: live cameras, players, graphics, and more. And for even more control, you can resize each group, making your most used tiles, like live sources, big and bold, so you never miss a beat. This is how you go from cluttered to crystal clear in seconds. Next, let's talk preview and program tiles. Knowing what's on air and what's coming next is an integral part of any production. In LiveU Studio, every input gets a red zone and a green zone. Quick cuts, just click red, and that source goes directly to program. Need to preview a graphic? Load it in green, fine-tune it, and take it live when you're ready. Perfect for fast-paced shows and polished transitions. Need to build a 2-box, a 3-box, or even a 4-box layout fast? Say hello to templates. Choose a layout, pick your inputs, drop in a background, and you're done. Whether it's commentators, guests, or remote feeds, templates help you build professional scenes in seconds. With LiveU Studio Replay Mode, you can become a replay operator on the fly. One click folds in all your live recordings. You can choose your angle, drag the playhead, and go to air, even in slow motion. You can mix in multiple angles for dynamic replays, then just hit your live camera to go right back into the action. Need to bring in a remote commentator or reporter? Easy. Generate a secure link, you can text it or email it, and they can join straight from their phone or laptop. No software needed. They'll see a low latency return feed and instantly become part of your show. Remote contribution has never been this simple. Click, connect, and go live. Everyone loves a good shortcut. With hotkeys, you can assign any key to control your show. Load scenes, take graphics live, trigger transitions, and much more. You can use your keyboard or devices like an Elgato Stream Deck for fast, intuitive show control. Last, but certainly not least, is publishing. You can push your live show to up to 30 destinations at once. Facebook, Twitch, X, YouTube, LinkedIn, all natively supported. Need linear output? Publish directly to a LiveU server in SDI, NDI, or 2110. You can even stream to RTMP, SRT, HLS, and so many more. Those are just 7 features that make LiveU Studio the ultimate cloud production tool. But there's plenty more. Whether you're running solo or with a crew, LiveU Studio puts studio-grade production in your browser.
All right, so really, I wanted to show it because I think it kind of tickles the brain of like, oh, we're not losing anything in a traditional live production. We're just doing it. We could even get the hardware if you're tactile in nature and you still want that stream deck or something to do the actual switching and cutting and transitions. That's all available, right? We've leveled up cloud production to support a broadcaster requirement, which I think is really cool. And it's one of the most, I think, for LiveU in general, really game-changing solutions out there for what we've come up with. I mean, I shouldn't say that. Our encoders are amazing as well, but I think Studio is our best product.
How have you used, like, how have you evolved your offering based on what you're hearing from your customers? Like, I see that it's incredibly feature rich, but you must get asked for a lot of different features from a lot of different use cases and customer requirements. Tell us how you balance that.
Yeah, of course. No one wants to pay for something they don't use, right? So we have to kind of provide options in terms of feature needs that increase and decrease the cost to use. So yeah, we've worked with NFL teams. We've got, I don't know, probably 20 or so NFL teams who only really need to cover press conferences and, post game shows or player interviews where they may want, just a slate to show up before they go live on their press conference and maybe a lower third, but they want to publish to multiple endpoints. So that's sort of a core functionality of Studio. That's a pricing package specific for that use case. Or you're looking at, some of the bigger sport events we do for sort of the tier 2, tier 3 space, like College Golf Network, right? They're doing these golf tournaments for these major, Division I colleges, and they're on large golf courses, right? So they may look at LiveU Studio as, okay, I really needed to have, the ability to switch 12 live sources, following 2 groups that I'm focused on, and I want a replay option, and I'm obviously wanting to generate some sort of revenue. So put Scuddy markers in there so I can play out commercials to my, OVP player. And that's a much more feature-rich application, which may include our encoders, right? So, we've, spun up more CPU to support something like that and price point accordingly.
So Janel, I'm glad you mentioned the College Golf Network. Why don't you, I know that was a customer story we were going to talk about this morning. Do you want to walk us through that and tell us a little bit about that story?
Yeah, so they're a perfect example of a customer who's deployed our lightweight sports production solution. And we say lightweight because I know I said in the video it's sort of no hardware, but really you still have to capture the live cameras, right? So how do you do that in an efficient way and bring those into the cloud with minimal staff and engineers and whatnot? So we use our encoders with bonded cellular technology. Here's an LU300, very lightweight. No, I don't know why. Lightweight is going to be the term I use over and over again. But the idea is you plug in a camera source, it's battery powered, and it has network infrastructure already in it, right? It's got a mix of cellular modems that are using our bonding technology, our proprietary transport protocol, LRT, to transmit that live signal, high quality, incredibly low delay, directly into the cloud production environment. It's a native one-to-one transmission. And each camera angle, specifically with college golf, because we know there's 18 holes and usually in a place with really poor connectivity, or it becomes very expensive to run cabling and or even deploying even a small RF footprint. It becomes super costly. So college doesn't have that kind of budget. So this is a way to still capture every possible angle you would want and bring that into a cloud production where the actual operators don't necessarily need to be on site. They don't have to be traveling, a director or a producer or a graphics operator. They just need an internet connection, connect to a browser, and they're a part of the live production. So with College Golf, after the few events they do during their season, they just deploy camera operators. Maybe they hire freelancers, provide them with the cameras, the encoders, and they're bringing all those feeds into a LiveU Studio where they're cutting, they add their HTML graphic overlays, sync it to, their, whatever they're using for scoring and metadata. And of course, playing out any sort of media file they need for the different universities, right? They typically sponsor these events, and then publishing to, could be ESPN or could be whatever rights holder that tournament has been designated to distribute to, or a streaming destination. So end to end, I've simplified it, but it is quite simple and lightweight. I'm going to end it on lightweight because I have to say that word.
Nice. I mean, it's funny you should say that. I remember talking to another golf sports production organization that talked a lot about how much fiber you have to lay on a golf course to do a full-blown production of a golf event. And so this is really like a game changer in terms of just eliminating that. Like, it's miles and miles and miles and miles and miles, I think. And as you said, quite often, cellular coverage on golf courses is not great, sometimes by design. So your bonding technology sounds as though it's a huge differentiator there to be able to make the best of what's available and still produce a game-changing event. Janel, fantastic. Really, really enjoyed the demos and talking about the stories. So many interesting use cases that I can see coming from what LiveU is doing. We've got a couple more minutes left. Just as we wrap it up, if we could put the QR code up, if you want to give us feedback and on what you want to see more of in Industries Live, and any feedback for LiveU and any follow-ups, please hit us up. Any last minute words for you, Gregoire? And Janel, anything last minute you want to share with the viewers before we wrap up?
I think this LiveU is a perfect illustration of how AWS-based solution can solve major inefficiencies. Like, if you think about the traditional way we produce a sports event for TV, it's incredibly inefficient, with a lot of travel, driving trucks to remote areas, a lot of people flying over to produce a show, a lot of beaming up and down a signal from a truck to a satellite back to a facility, back up, when really everything you need is a backpack, get a signal to AWS, and people can access it from multiple places and broadcast it to multiple places.
Absolutely. Yeah. And LiveU has a pretty robust ecosystem of products, and it's modular in nature. So I always say we take consultative approaches to any idea you have of live production. So because we have the ability to deploy these field units sort of anywhere there's cellular, or even if there's access to the sky, right? We've done this with various LEO satellite providers. The only limitation is really how creative you can get. So it's exciting to be a part of this world and really enabling more content and to more fans. So I'm excited to see where it goes and join you guys and the great partnership that AWS has helped move us along with.
Well, Janel, I was just about to wrap up with key takeaways, but I think you just did it for me. Thank you so much. We thoroughly enjoyed the conversation again. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope for the viewers you found it really interesting. Again, please engage with the QR code and give us feedback. And we really enjoyed hosting you again on Industries Live. Again, absolutely love spending every second Tuesday. Next Tuesday, or every in 2 weeks, we're going to be I think we have NVIDIA on. We're talking about fraud and event recovery, which is going to be, again, a very interesting topic to talk about financial services. Thanks for joining us. Gregoire, Janel, thanks for your time. Everybody have a wonderful week, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time on Industries Live. See you. Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.